Hey, do you know there's a thing called whitening the resume? There's really this thing. The research shows that if you have a white name on your resume, chances are you're going to get more interviews. I honestly question that. Hey, who am I to question that, right? If there are employers out there, recruiters out there are tossing away the resume based on the name, shame on them. But do you want to change your name because you think some research proves it? You want to make sure that you want to work with some employer who appreciate your background, your name. Come on, don't fall for that. Be real, be authentic when you're applying for a job. There's no need for you to change the name on resume. Don't do it. This is who you are. Please don't be like that, all right? Own your name, and you got this. Job seekers, if you're applying for a job and you want to end up in a recruiter's search or hiring manager's search, I want you to make sure that you don't use the small town if you live in the greater Toronto area. So let's say if you live in Mississauga or Brampton, I still want you to use the Toronto, Ontario as a location on it. So that way you are ended up in a search as well if they look for larger location. Plus there's no hiring bias because you know what? Some people are bad apple there. They might not call you if you live quite far. So let them guess. Resume's work is to get an interview, and you can talk about the right fit or wrong fit once you get that called. But be on their search by strategizing the location. You got this. Why do you not need the full address on the resume these days? A is to make sure that you are not going to be selected out of this system because you live too far and there's a hiring bias. Second is there's a privacy issue as well, so you don't want the stalker, especially when you are one of those who are upgrading and uploading their resume everywhere online. You don't want people to know where you live, do you? So always put the location, let's say Toronto, Ontario, Ottawa, Ontario, things like that. Don't ever provide the full address. Employers, they don't search you with the full address, not even the postal code. You got this. You know how the recruiters and hiring managers scan their resume with their own eyes? That's why it's really hard for you to get those interviews if you don't meet the requirement. I want you to try this technique. Put all the keywords that it's on the job descriptions in the industry language that you are applying for. Put it on top. And also put the bullets on it as well. Technical skills, job skills, hard skills, soft skills. Make sure you are targeting the right job. You qualify for it. Put it all on top. So when they're scanning through, what's happening is they're putting a checklist together. Human brains are just like a goldfish. They will forget it. So you've got to have them at hello right on top. Top is the important one. All right? You got this. I'm going to tell you 3 things most of the resume misses when they're applying online, and they miss to get that phone screening. Number 1 is the job title that you're applying for. Number 2 is the experience, which are highlighted on the job description. Give it to them on top. And the third one would be the industry. So let's say that you're working into the contact center world, call center, or you're working in the leadership role as well. Put those language in there. Leadership experience on what? What kind of leadership experience? Operation manager? Put that in there as well. Leadership experience for how long? Put it in there. Match the job descriptions. Next one would be to highlight the industry. Is it contact center? Nobody's talking about if you should put hobbies on a resume or even talk about it during interview or during networking. And I'm going to tell you this is it might work if you use it strategically. Let me tell you my story. I was targeting this nonprofit, and I was also targeting this corporate company when I got laid off. And you know what I did was I researched about them, and they used to do a lot of charity work. So I put it as a hobby, and it was my hobby because I was doing a lot of fundraising. So I said the interest in hobby for me was doing the fundraising, and I also added the dollar amount that I raised and who were the charity that I was involved with, and I also traveled for fundraising as well. So that gave me the huge advantage over other candidates. And the hiring manager later on told me once I got hired in this top company, he told me that actually stood out and nobody did that. So I tell my client to put it strategically. Bring it up and use it for networking connections or during interview, but always research your company and see if that could be part of the role requirement sometimes. You got this. Hey, are you in Canada? Are you ready to disclose the vaccination status when you're looking for a job or throughout your career? Now, a lot of employers are putting the job posting right now, and the requirement seems to be vaccination status, vaccination proof. Here's what I want you to do. If you're comfortable with it, when you're writing a resume at the bottom, put it in there and say vaccination passport available upon the request, or fully vaccinated, ready to travel or work from the office. Hopefully, when they see it, you will get the call. When you finally fit that 3 pages resume to 2 pages, yes.